Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Film, and yes, I'm qualified to have that name. And welcome to my review of Heretic. Before we begin, you should know that this review will contain no spoilers. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe for reviews and more. And so, without further ado, let us begin.
This is gonna be delicious.
Right off the bat, I think this movie was well casted. You gotta give props to Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East for giving such great performances. They did a good job playing as the missionary sisters, given the fact that both of these actresses were both raised Mormon. I'm serious, I'm not making this stuff up. Because they were raised Mormon, they were able to give valuable insight into the religion when shooting this movie, which could explain why most of their performances felt so real. And of course, let's not forget our main villain of this movie, Mr. Reed, played by the one and only Hugh Grant. And he was freaking magnetic in this movie. He was charming, likable, and what makes this character all the more frightening is that you have no idea what he's planning to do with these two characters. Is he going to murder them? Is he going to eat them? Let them go after he gives his lectures? What's going on in his creepy little head?
You don't want to know.
When we see our two main characters finding themselves trapped in this house with him, they are forced to go along with his creepy lecture about his insights on religion. And that's where the suspense comes in. Because, as mentioned before, you don't know what his ultimate goal is. The tension builds and builds and builds, and man, you find yourselves completely out of breath, just like these main characters. Now, when it comes to thriller, I admit, there wasn't much thriller as I hoped there would be, but there was this thrilling sequence near the end of the movie, which I thought was pretty satisfying. And I also gotta give props to the cinematography and editing behind this movie. I mean, take this scene for instance. I mean, just look at that. Just tell me that you're not amazed by this incredible sequence.
No, not really.
Now, as for the story was investing, well crafted, and even though this movie is mostly dialogue driven, you would still be invested in this cat and mouse game as you see our two main characters trying to devise a plan to get out of this intense situation without getting themselves killed or worse. Although I have to admit, near the end of the second act, there was this one scene where Mr. Reed talks about his theories on death and such. I almost fell asleep during that scene. Was it the pacing that was off? Was it the dialogue? I don't know. There was just something about that scene that made me feel bored a little. But luckily, the film picked up its mojo again, and then I find myself invested and wide awake again. Overall, my friends, I think this movie was greater than I expected, and I highly recommend checking this film out. Now, just to be clear, this movie is not what you call a groundbreaking, life-changing film. Nothing of that sort. But that doesn't make this movie all around bad. The movie was thought-provoking, challenging, suspenseful, mysterious, and it piqued my interest from beginning to end. And even after the movie was over, I find myself hoping to watch this movie again. So when you do check out this film, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. With all that said, I give Heretic an 8.5 out of 10.
Do not be afraid.
Okay, not exactly like that, but you know what I mean.